Good evening, church family. What is one thing all of us drink, or almost all of us drink every day? We all drink coffee, or more specifically, caffeine. Every day, around the world, millions of people drink caffeine. Caffeine can be found in many things, and among these include tea, coffee, and soda, which are more obvious ones. But then also there's a little bit of caffeine found in chocolate. And the one that was surprising to me is painkillers. And in North America, 9 out of 10 people, or 90% of people, drink caffeine daily. The U.S. has the highest caffeine intake, and closely followed by Brazil. And every day, 2.25 billion cups of coffee are drank. Why is caffeine so popular? Why do so many people drink it, and in large amounts? For one, it brings energy and happiness to mind and body. It makes you feel better, gives you a little boost that you need to start your day. But the thing about caffeine is it runs in a cycle, so it doesn't last very long. And the instant energy you get from caffeine takes from your energy reserves in your body. And so if you're using all your energy now, you won't have any left for the rest of the day. And that's why after caffeine's effects wear off, it results in a crash. You feel more tired, and probably more tired than before you even had any caffeine. And also, caffeine's closely related to cocaine and nicotine, two other very addictive drugs, and is part of a larger group of drugs called amphetamines. Also, caffeine alters mood and behavior from just 2 to 3 cups of caffeine per day. It affects the brain and nervous system, and it makes you addicted. It makes you need the caffeine to be more efficient or feel more alert. In a study done by Loma Linda University, they studied the effects of caffeine on spiders, and specifically orb weaver spiders, which make these beautiful webs. They're symmetrical, they're large, and just beautiful in general. And they injected the spiders with caffeine, which was equal to around 2 cups of coffee for an adult human. And afterwards, this is what their webs look like. They're distorted, they are not symmetrical, and they're very small with only a few strands. And then after 48 hours, or 2 full days, the webs looked a little better, but they still weren't how they were usually made. They were still non-symmetrical and only had 12 to 13 strands. Only after 96 hours, or 4 full days, were the webs back to completely normal. They were symmetrical again, and they were as big as they were supposed to be. And this shows that the major effects of caffeine may wear off after a little bit, but the little minor effects are still there days later. Also, an effect of caffeine is it makes it very hard to sleep, because it's a stimulator. It stimulates your body and wakes it up, keeps it active, gets the brain going, and gets it functioning, which makes sleep near impossible to get. Also, caffeine increases the chance of becoming more hostile, depressed, or fatigue. Out of these, fatigue is felt the most because when the caffeine wears out, you feel tired again. Also, caffeine relaxes muscles in the upper stomach, which allows partially digested food to come back up, burning the esophagus and leading to heartburn or acid reflux. Also, it causes the stomach to produce more acid, which can cause ulcers to form in the stomach, which is very painful. Also, some effects of caffeine, more specifically on the heart in general. It increases the heart rate, gets it pumping faster, blood flowing a little more. It also can cause irregular heartbeats, which are not good. It raises cholesterol levels, and it accelerates the blood clotting process. Now, who's most at risk from caffeine consumption? It's actually pregnant women. And having just 2 or more cups of coffee daily makes it 2 times more likely that they'll have a miscarriage. It also can lower the birth weight of the child, cause bone problems, and also slower fetal growth, so they aren't developing at the rate they need to be. And also, even after the baby's born, there are still some risks, because the amount of caffeine found in breast milk is actually 50% higher than in the mother's blood. And so that means the babies are getting more caffeine than their mothers, and also the effects of caffeine last longer in the babies, lasting for 80 hours or just over 3 full days. And that's compared to the mother only 5 to 6 hours. Also, other effects that caffeine can have on the body is calcium deficiency, vitamin B deficiency, and iron deficiency. The loss of calcium from bones can lead to osteoporosis. And in another study conducted on the risks of caffeine, it was done on teenage girls and the caffeine they get from soft drinks, more specifically dark colas. And it was found that the teenage girls who drank caffeine were at a 5 times higher risk to break a bone than those who didn't. And caffeine is very addictive. The more you have, the more you want, because your brain wants to release that dopamine, become excited, and make your body feel good. And so the little amount you have at first will be enough to get those results, but later you'll need more and more and more, and it's just a vicious cycle and makes you depend on it. Also, like any other drug, there are withdrawal symptoms. It can cause headaches, fatigue, anxiety, and even nervousness, make you fidgety. Most of these symptoms peak after 36 hours, though. And then there were 7 steps for quitting caffeine, for when it gets out of control, when you have to crave caffeine so much and you have to have it or you can't function. And these steps include taking a hot shower to start your day, and then at the end turning it to cold water and then toweling off quickly afterwards. Gets you awake and alert without having to use the caffeine to do so. Also, eating a good, healthy breakfast can help, because then you're not craving things because you're full. You don't need anything. Avoiding tobacco products. Drinking lots of water, because what water does is it flushes out all of that caffeine if you had caffeine. Exercise daily and just make that a habit, because that helps you stay healthy as well. And the most important one is trusting in God. And in Jeremiah 32, verse 27, it tells us, I am the Lord, the God of all living things. Is anything too hard for me? This shows that we can ask God to do anything for us, because he can do anything. This verse shows that nothing's impossible for God. And so, if you find yourself needing caffeine or being addicted to caffeine, just ask God to help you to stop. And in another verse, this one found in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31, it says, Therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. This verse is telling us that everything we do, even what we eat and drink, needs to be for the glory of God. So if we're doing things that are healthy for our bodies, we can glorify God through that. And also, in the Bible, it tells us that our bodies are temples of God. And so that means that we just need to not put harmful things in it, to take care of our bodies, and just to glorify God that way. So we just need to watch what we put in our bodies.